Hey everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Tubi Tuesday here on Horror Film Lovers. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. I'm here with
Ana Xaden.
Anna, and we are here to talk about Beneath the Old Dark House.
You're invited to a party, a housewarming party.
Please, by all means, come in.
There will be a few unexpected guests. Stay for a bite. Sit a spell. And join us beneath the old, dark house. Beneath the old, dark house. If you lived here, you'd be dead by now.
Now, in the last episode, where we did with Craving, at the end of it, I said it was kind of hard to say, and it's because I keep thinking of the original movie that this is actually, a spinoff from, or whatever, homage to, which is the Old Dark House. So beneath the Old Dark House, sometimes like I want to say the Old Dark House, not the beneath, But this is written and directed by Matt Cloude, who so I've known Matt. Matt and I go way back to the MySpace days, kind of like you and I do,
Uh-huh.
and Matt was, is a special effects person. And you can tell from this movie if all the effects
Yeah.
are, I think, are done by him, or
Nice.
whatever. Which I think for a special effects person, being a director is a lot of fun because then if you're doing the special effects too, you can sort of fool around with what you want to create. And I think he did that
Yeah.
with this movie.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
but yeah, Matt and I have known each other since I don't know how much longer, but in 2009 I had him and he brought Mariah Johnson down, and at that time it was Mariah Smith, but Mariah Johnson, John Johnson's wife, they came down, and John Johnson came down with them because they didn't know me, right? Like I could be literally making a snuff film for all they knew. So they just kind of, I think they brought like protection just in case. Once they saw I was a pretty cool dude or whatever, like laid back, not gonna chop you up and put you in my freezer, uh, which would have been its own horror movie. Um, which could be, I don't know if that's been made into a horror movie already, but
There
uh,
has been one.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Very
I'm sure I'm
disturbing.
not original. Um, but we made this movie Screwdriver as a little short film. Nobody will ever see it.
Oh.
It's just not, no, not worth ever even. I don't even know if I could find it, and I'm okay
Ah.
with that. Uh, you know. Um, and so we made this movie, and it was a very big introduction to them and to another guy, Terry Jernigan, who I worked with. And so it was great. And so I've seen, Matt throughout the years making, a ton of great movies and things, and I was really excited to see this one. And now they're making I guess a sequel to it, like a spin-off thing. Coffin Tooth is getting his own
Oh yeah,
movie.
I've seen some people talking about that one.
Yeah, Matt, uh Coffin Tooth is in this one. He's the little
Uh-huh.
creature guy, and that's kind of throughout
Oh,
the
the
whole
one that
thing.
kept doing
Yeah.
this. Oh my God, I loved him.
Yeah, and he's got his own movie now coming out
Nice.
next, either this year or next year. I think probably next year.
Nice.
I think they're still working the stuff out on it. But
Yeah.
that's great because then 2023 and then 2024 they'll have that one, and then who
Yeah.
knows what they'll have in 2025. So Matt, just keep doing that. Keep it
Yeah.
going with that. Uh, but they all take place in Creightonville, I think is what it's called. That's the place that is called like the city. It's Creightonville.
Uh-huh.
And so he's had movies set in there. So he has his own little cinematic universe,
Nice.
where all of these are kind of connected and whatnot. And I love those. Those are what I do, too. So
Yeah.
I adore that. And oh, my favorite character. So we're not spoiling this, by the way, but my favorite character in the movie is Paul R. Seaver's character. He's the creepy guy that goes to visit the girl at the for lunch and everything and
Yeah.
whatnot. Yeah.
Oh.
I've worked with Paul. I love Paul to death, and I actually even told him, wrote to him and said, "You were really creepy," and he said, "Thank you." Which
Yeah, he
normally,
did really
if
good.
you say you're very creepy, people are just like, "Oh," but as an actor, really it's liked. I don't know.
Yeah.
So this is an anthology film, which I did not know when I first
Uh-huh.
did. So it's kind of funny, because I just wasn't planning on it being an anthology until you told me, 'cause you watched it before I did, and you were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, the first and second story, blah blah blah," and I said,
Yeah.
so there's three, so it's an anthology, okay."
Yeah.
And I watched it, and I was very happy with it being an anthology because it works.
Yes.
Uh, you know, I mean, I liked the first segment, but it wasn't my favorite. You know,
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna lie, and I think you even said that too a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because a lot of it is silent.
Yes. The
There's a little
silence
talk. I
was
mean, there's talking in the
disturbing.
background, but you can't really hear anybody else talk. And I don't know if that was like, I mean, that's gotta be like, of course, on purpose or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think it
So
was to like build up to the points that were about to happen. You're
when it
just
did
like
get,
you're
yeah,
on edge already because it's like nobody actually talking loudly and you're like, what's about to happen? I
yeah,
know something's coming. So yeah.
yeah. And then something does later. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, and it sets up, and that's one story. The next story is with Paul Seaver
Yeah,
and
that was good.
yeah, and Kayla. I want to say her name's Spargo. Um, let's see. Not that. So yeah, so Kayla. Uh, Dang, I am really bad with this. So just bear with me. Kayla Spargo. She played I think her name was Carrie, and she was one of the waitresses. So she's the one that actually liked the guy or whatever, like,
Yeah.
enjoyed him and stuff. That she did a great job. And
Yes.
that became really creepy and weird at the end. And I don't
Oh
want to say
yeah.
anything, but that
Yeah,
that
it
that
did.
ending was just like, what the fuck? Once again, very big special effects stuff,
Yeah.
heavy, and very much helped with the movie itself. Like, kind of bringing in because at that point when you're seeing all these special effects happening, you're like, the fuck am I, like,
Yeah.
really, did that just happen? You know?
Yep.
And then the third story is involved a doll, creepy doll. And you said that
Yes.
was your favorite, right?
It was, yeah.
That was
I
your
don't know
favorite.
why. I just liked it. Like, I don't know. It was a cool doll for one. It was
It
one of
looked
those
kind of like
dolls that it's like, you're
Annabelle a
gonna
little
do
bit.
something bad. Yeah, it kind of looked like they painted Annabelle.
Yeah, but made it look even
But
creepier.
like, I don't know. I have this thing with dolls like that. And that one was creepy. It reminded me of when I used to walk into my bedroom after I'd come home from college. And there was a ventriloquist doll that always was on my bed. Wasn't my ventriloquist dummy either. I would take it out to the shop or woodworking shop and I'd lock it in there. Next day, it's on my bed again. I'm like,
Somebody's
oh
playing
my
pranks on
God.
you, or that thing's getting
Oh,
out.
my sister kept bringing it out.
Why?
She thought I left it in there by accident. So there's like 3 or 4 days of this going on. And I told my mom, I was like, I'm losing my mind. That doll keeps ending up in my bed. And she told me, your sister's the one putting it in there, right? She said you forgot it in the shop. I was like, no, I hid it in the shop. So,
Trying to get rid of it.
but seeing this Annabelle looking doll, I was like, oh no, here's the flashbacks.
I know. And that doll keeps, like it'll appear or whatever and
Yes.
whatnot. Yeah. I like that. I thought it
Yep.
was great. And,
Oh yeah.
because there is like a one point where she goes, what the, right?
I
And it's,
know.
that kind of reminds me of you now. Like you would have been like that. That was Christy Johnson who did that,
Oh
and she was
yeah.
great. She was fantastic in that, especially with the guy that's like touching her and stuff, and
Oh
she's
my
just like,
gosh.
"Get
Yes.
the fuck away from me, dude!"
Yep.
Like all she wanted was to buy her grandma's like house, but
Yes.
like that's
And
it.
he wanted much more.
He was, yeah, he is,
He was
it's
creepy
pretty,
too.
yeah. But
Yeah.
on purpose, of course, and
Yep.
everything. So then the last story before like it all like I don't know if it was really all tied to each other. I think it was, but like with the coffin tooth guy, but like
Yeah.
sort of I kind of wish they had done something different. I mean, look, the way it was done was great, but what I
Yeah.
kind of wish was like, and I don't know if this is what happened. Tell me if this is what happened, but I don't think so. But like, it'd been cool if like the coffin tooth guy was showing her video, it was showing every victim the videos of like what happened to them. That's not what happened, right? Because
No.
there were videos and stuff. But it would have
Yeah.
been cooler if that's like each person that was like the main person in that,
Yeah.
they had them tied up and they got to watch sort of how they got kidnapped or how they
Yeah. See,
whatever
that would have been
happened to them.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Kind of like
unfortunately,
the girls in the photographs. They kind of did something like that.
okay. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was. I don't think it was like that. So I don't
No.
know how it was really tied with the coffin tooth guy necessarily. So I'm not saying
Yeah.
like that it did a bad job. I'm just saying like I wasn't. I didn't notice that. Like that didn't
Yeah.
come to my mind. But the last one,
Maybe he was all big on showing people snuff films.
right? And
It's
so
like,
was
hey,
he
look at
showing them
this.
what?
Probably to freak them out.
Yeah, maybe, so maybe
But
that
I
was it.
love Coppin too. That one's behavior was just like, wow,
He looked
okay.
like such a weird,
Oh
weird, weird
yeah.
character.
But when he
Uh,
started doing this, I'm like, oh my gosh.
so the last one involved Brink Stevens,
Oh
which
yeah.
she's such a great scream queen. The last movie
Yes.
Craving that we did had freaking Felissa Rose. We're getting a bunch of scream queens here, just
Yeah.
awesome. So was it Brink Stevens was great. She played this
Yeah.
writer who's I guess being chatted with by this person who's interviewing her at her house and everything. Don't once again no spoilers, so I'm not going to say anything, but
Yeah.
let's just say things don't go well during the interview
Yeah.
and everything, and bad things happen. And Kaylee Williams is in it, but
Uh-huh.
my biggest problem with Kaylee being in it is like I feel like I mean it was a significant role. I'm not saying
Uh-huh.
like, but such a small role that I was surprised about. I thought she'd have a bigger role, more lines, more stuff. I mean, I don't think she said a word, did she? I don't think so. She
I
was
don't think
the
so.
daughter.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
don't
she
think she
said
said a word.
anything.
So yeah, it was nice to see her, but it was a little, there was a lot of nudity in the movie,
Yeah.
which doesn't happen a lot in horror films these days. There was a lot of murder size, we forgot to mention that, but there was a lot of
Yeah.
murder size. There's a lot in this one. Craving, I don't think had any.
I don't think there was any at all in the
No.
Craving movie.
So some
No.
some will have it, some don't, and that's fine either way. I mean, you're really, to me, honestly, when you see a horror film, you're not just there for boobs and sex or whatever. You're there
Yeah.
really for the kills and for the
Yeah.
special effects and stuff. And the last three movies that we just did, those delivered lots of great kills,
Oh
and
yeah,
lots of great
definitely.
special effects. And
Yeah.
so I really enjoyed. David Witt was the dad, and I actually worked on Zombie Isle with him. I think he was in
Oh,
that.
cool.
Don't know. I don't think we were in a scene together. I think he was in the movie, but I don't think we actually. But
Ah,
we will see each other at like conventions and stuff, all the time.
nice.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy.
I need to go to conventions so bad.
Are there any around you?
I hear they had one in Jackson not long ago, but they didn't advertise.
You
But
gotta be on
also,
top of that by like checking out what it is on the
yeah, but
website.
also in Mississippi right now, group gatherings, most dangerous thing you can do because people are getting a little gun happy at all of them.
Ooh,
So, like, they have churches and everything. They have church, they went in, yeah. Pretty much living in Mississippi, I could write down everything that happens and make a horror movie out of that.
oof.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Anyway, I think I don't know. Is there much else to talk about with this one?
The music, I enjoyed the music of this.
You
I'm
enjoy
like
the
totally
music.
into music. I like the music. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, felt like of that time, right? Like, is
Yes,
this? I
exactly.
don't know if this was necessarily like a throwback to like the 50s or 60s kind of stuff, but
Uh-huh.
like, because I don't know when the old Dark House. I think I'm gonna say 50s.
Uh-huh.
The old Dark House. Let's see, old Dark House, 1932, and then
Wow.
1963.
Oh, wow.
Oh, 1932 original. But I mean, they didn't go black and white on this. They didn't try to make this look like it was from the
Yeah.
1930s or anything. They made it look like it's this time, but just like
Yeah.
a later version of these type of films and stuff.
Yeah.
With
Which is
more
cool.
special effects,
Yeah.
which you
Oh, I
thought was
love
cool.
the special effects in this too.
Yeah. The makeup, everything, like it was
Uh-huh.
just all well done.
Yes.
All the characters were exactly the way you sort of expect them to be in these kind of movies and stuff. So,
Yeah.
and and there's the thing with shorts is you don't really get a lot of time with the people. Like the
Yeah.
first movie, you didn't really get a lot of time with her, so you don't really care what's gonna happen to her. The second one with the girl and the creepy guy, you kind of
Yeah.
care about her because you're kind of liking her. Like
Yeah.
she's got a, but when she makes kind of dumb decisions, which is a horror thing, is a horror trope, to make stupid decision when you're like,
Yeah.
you should just leave,
Yeah.
but the person
See, I was
decides to
thinking that
go
the whole time. I was like,
into a
just
house,
go.
like
Yes.
don't go into the house. Like,
Yeah.
but like that's what those movies do, right? They make you go,
Yep.
don't go in there. Don't be that stupid, you
Yep.
know.
It's
But
like the people that run upstairs to get away from the killers. You're like, well, that's the last thing you should have done.
well, and it's funny because like Scream pointed that out, but
Uh-huh.
then they, like some dumb bitch who runs up the stairs when she should be running out the front door, but then she
Yep.
becomes that dumb bitch when the door is blocked,
Yeah.
and she can't get up it, so she has to go up the stairs.
Yep. True.
And that is sort of a funny thing, but like those are tropes. Those are things that happen in horror films that it might be cliche and stereotypical, but they're kind of expected. Like
Exactly.
you don't watch a horror film because you want everything to surprise the fuck out of you, everything.
Yeah.
You want some things, you want somebody to fucking trip and get
Yep.
killed, or
Yep.
whatever. Because you'd be like, and all right, I'm gonna say this. This is pretty bad, but we're shooting a thing with one of the guys running, right? And we're just testing it out, right? And the dude literally tripped on something, like for real, and
Oh.
banged and stuff. And we felt really terrible, and everything. We did what we could, but then we chatted with them and stuff and about it and everything. He had to go to the hospital and get stitches
Oh.
and all
Oh
that
no.
crap.
He
Yeah, it was
really
bad.
got hurt.
It was
Oh my
bad.
goodness.
But you know, it happens. You run and you
Yeah.
trip,
Yeah.
and And so, like, when it happens in a horror film, you're just like, a lot of people go, "Oh man, somebody tripped in a horror film." Like, what a cliche. But I'm like, you're running through the woods, you're not paying attention to anything. You're either going to bump into a tree or you're going to trip on a stick because you're
See
not
the
looking at your feet, you know?
Yep. See, that would
So,
be me running into a tree or something.
me too, you know? But it happened. So, this movie did sort of have a couple cliches that happen in these horror films that you're kind of expecting, but you're like that person like, oh no, I wouldn't go in there. I wouldn't do that. No,
Yeah.
don't do that. Just leave, you know? And I'm like, but those are fun. That's fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
You get into a horror film. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. If you guys get
Yeah.
a chance to watch it, go to Tubi and check it out. I
Yes, totally check it out.
so next week we've got Bridge of the Doomed, which I have not seen yet. So can't
Me
tell you.
either.
Yeah, we both haven't seen it. We're doing these like three at a time. So we've
Yeah.
done the first three. Then we're gonna do the next three, and the next three,
Nice.
and the next three, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. But
Yes.
yeah, Bridge of the Doomed is next, done by the brothers, the Mahal Empire. Guys who do a lot of Indiegogo and a lot of get some big name people in there, and so there'll be some
Yeah.
people you know and whatnot. And I'm really excited about it. I have not seen it yet because, well, I mean, I hadn't seen it yet. I don't know why. It's been sort of on my list of wanting to see it, but once again, I think it's like, where do I wanted to watch it so I could review it a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll do that for this, but non-spoiler reviews, so you guys can go enjoy it on Tubi yourself.
Yes.
But until then, everybody, have a good one. Bye.
Goodbye.